My name is Stacey Napper. My student number is AIPC 020733. This is part B of Practical 1, the reflection upon the counselling session. So I am going to start by having a look at my counselling notes. So the client's name was Michelle Smith. Session 1. Goals Michelle identified was to become less overwhelmed with everything happening all at once and to create time for study. Michelle did clearly identify that study was very important and something that they really wanted to carve out time for. Topics discussed. Michelle discussed feeling very overwhelmed and stressed, quite frazzled with all the things going on at once, a busy husband, teenagers, working full-time. And during the process, Michelle outlined 3 things that could relieve time for study, which she believes would lower her stress level. She will be approaching these things within the next time frame between sessions, and we will be able to evaluate how that is working. Interventions and strategies. We use the person-centered approach, and this allowed Michelle to brainstorm and come up with ideas that were manageable and within her reach to be able to create time to meet her goal of creating time to do her study. These were to order Marley and spoon with teenagers, to cook and reduce shopping time, to hire a cleaner to undertake household tasks that are time-consuming, and to talk with HR/boss about hours reduction for study. The next session is in 1 week to evaluate how these strategies are working. You can evaluate what's working and what is not, and how their stress level is feeling. And in this course, it was suggested that we may be able to implement some stress management techniques. Again, the client's name is Michelle Smith. It was a self-referral. There were no special needs information or identified, no safety reporting issues. The client demonstrated their own priorities, were very stressed and overwhelmed trying to complete study. Observed client requirements. The client seemed nervous and was exhibiting this in their speech, where they were a little bit quiet, and their body language, which was quite fidgety and looking downward. The observed client requirements also showed that they were very clear that study was something they wanted to complete and they had a goal in mind. The goal was to create more time to allow for study by exploring what can create time to complete the study. And monitoring, an appointment is booked for 1 week to evaluate how this is working and look at other strategies that can help. In my own reflection, what went well was being able to listen to key things and really identify that completing the course and the coursework. I had a very good volunteer who very much got into the role and really cemented their place that finishing the course was of high importance. And I believe it went well to support ways that could benefit that time allowance. I believe it worked well to be personal and also understanding around what they were saying around teenagers and things, and to also compliment them on completing quite a hard thing in coming to counselling at the end. What didn't work? I believe I nodded too much in the beginning. In my professional sphere, I do not nod that much. So I feel like if I cut back the nodding in the beginning as a way of being attentive or overly attentive, that would feel more natural to me, because it's not something I would normally do. And on looking back at the video, it didn't look very natural either. Another thing that didn't work well was I didn't spray the room for mosquitoes beforehand, which I know has nothing to do with the course, but it was very distracting trying to get mosquitoes off us. The other thing was over gesturing of hands. I don't know why. I was maintaining open palms to be open. However, again, this is not something I would normally overly use to the capacity which I did. So I don't really believe that was natural looking and could really seem like a bit too much to a client in a real life setting. I feel like I could have done better also in challenging different ideas that Michelle was coming up with. As I said, my volunteer read the script and went with it without prior discussion, which was great because it really kept me on my toes and being able to go, okay, wow, this is not what I was expecting, and not expecting as in the really strong stance of I really want to complete my assignments, my course. So having to really branch that out, and perhaps I could have reframed things or challenged a little bit better. However, I do feel like it was a successful session where Michelle was able to really dive into themselves, their capacity, their financial capacity, and their own identified strategies of where they spend their time and what they can do to make it better. So I look forward to seeing Michelle next week. Thank you.